joined us tonight for the production, which is sponsored this year by the Office of Housing and Residence Life, Social Justice and Diversity Initiatives Committee, the Residence Hall Association, and the Elliott University Center, which is where you are tonight. The proceeds from tonight's show, which include ticket sales, t-shirts, buttons, and the baked goods, which hopefully you consumed a little bit of before show, all go to the Greensboro Clara House, which is a local shelter for battered women and children. It is our great pleasure and honor to support this cause because we recognize that it is an issue here in Greensboro and in our state, and then beyond that in our nation and internationally. We kindly request that you turn off your cell phone or at least silence it for tonight's production, as photography and recording do distract our cast members, and they have worked incredibly hard to put on a good show for you tonight. I also want to let you know that we will be recording tonight's show, so if you could keep side conversations to a minimum, we would greatly appreciate it. We are incredibly proud of the work that this cast has put into this show. We know that you are going to feel the love, the passion, and the energy that they have put into the months and months of preparation. Again, welcome to the show. Enjoy. Woo!
I bet you're worried.
We were worried.
We were worried about vaginas.
We were worried what we think about vaginas, but even more worried that we don't think about them. We were worried about our own vaginas. They needed a context of other vaginas, a community, a culture of vaginas. There's so much darkness and secrecy surrounding them. Like the Bermuda Triangle, no one comes back from there.
In the first place, it's not so easy to even find your vagina. Women go weeks, months, sometimes years without looking at it. A high-powered businesswoman was interviewed, and she said she was too busy. She didn't have the time. Looking at your vagina, she said, is a full day's work. You have to get down there on your back in front of a mirror that's standing on its own, full length preferred. You have to get in the perfect position with the perfect light, which is then somehow shadowed by the mirror and the angle you're at. You get all twisted up. You're arching your head up, killing your back. You're exhausted by then. She said she didn't have the time for that. She was busy.
So, there were vagina interviews, which became Vagina Monologues. Over 200 women were interviewed. Older women, younger women, married women, lesbians, single women, college professors, corporate professionals, sex workers, actors, African American women, Hispanic women, Asian American women, Native American women, Caucasian women, Jewish women. Okay. At first, they were a little reluctant to talk. They were a bit shy, but once you got them going, you couldn't stop them. Women secretly love to talk about their vaginas. They get very excited, mainly because no one's ever asked them before.
Let's just start with the word. Vagina. It sounds like an infection, at best. Maybe a medical instrument. Hurry, nurse, bring me the vagina. 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 No matter how many times you say it, it never sounds like a word you want to say. It's a completely ridiculous, totally unsexy word. If you use it during sex, trying to be politically correct, darling, would you stroke my vagina? Kill the act right there.
We were worried about vaginas, what we call them and don't call them.
In Great Neck, New York, they call it a pussycat. A woman there said that her mother used to tell her, "Don't wear panties underneath your pajamas, dear. You need to air out your pussycat."
Yeah. In Westchester, they call it a pookie.
In New Jersey, a twat.
There's powder box, a poochie, a poopy, a pee-pee, a poopaloo, a punani, a pile, and a peach.
Toady, Dee Dee, Nishi, Dignity, monkey box,
Gucci snorcher, cooter, lady.
Gladys Sigelman.
a VA, a wheelie, a horse spot, nappy dugout,
Mongo, Mookie, a pajama, fanny boo, marshmallow,
Guli, Pasible, Tamale, Tortita, Connie.
it's a Mimi in Miami,
a split knish in Philadelphia.
And a Schmende in the Bronx.
We're worried about vaginas.
Some of the monologues are based on one woman's story. And some of the monologues are based on several women's stories surrounding the same theme. And every few times, a good idea became an outrageous one. This monologue is based on one woman's story, although the subject came up in every interview and was often fraught. That subject being hair.
You cannot love a vagina unless you love hair. Many people do not love hair. My first and only husband hated hair. He said it was cluttered, dirty. He made me shave my vagina. It looked all puffy and exposed and like a little girl. This excited him. When he made love to me, my vagina felt the way a beard must feel. It felt good to rub it and painful, like scratching a mosquito bite. It felt like it was on fire. There were screaming red bumps. I refused to shave it again. And then my husband had an affair. When we went to marital therapy, he said the reason he screwed around on me was because I wouldn't please him sexually. I wouldn't shave my vagina. The therapist spoke in a German accent and would gasp, "Oh," between sentences, "Oh," to show her empathy. She asked me why I didn't want to please my husband. I told her I thought it was weird. I felt little when the hair was gone down there, and I couldn't help talking in a baby voice, and the skin got all irritated. Even calamine lotion wouldn't help it. She said, "Questions." And she said, "Marriage is a compromise." I asked her if shaving my vagina would stop him from screwing around. I asked her how many cases she'd had like this before. And she said, "Questions diluted the process. I should just jump in." She was sure it was a good beginning. This time, when we got home, he got to shave my vagina. It was like a therapy bonus prize. He clipped it a couple of times, and there was a little blood in the bathtub. Oh, but he didn't even notice. He was so happy shaving. Then later, when my husband was pressing against me, I could feel his spiky sharpness sticking into me, my naked, puffy vagina. There was no protection. There was no love. It was then I realized that hair is there for a reason. It's the leaf around the flower. It's the lawn around the house. You have to love hair in order to love the vagina. You can't pick the parts you want. And besides, my husband, he never stopped screwing around.
All of the women were asked the following questions.
If your vagina got dressed, what would it wear?
Glasses, a beret, a leather jacket, silk stockings, mink, and a pink boa.
A male tuxedo.
Jeans.
Something formal.
Emeralds, an evening gown, sequins.
Oh, Armani only.
A tutu. See-through black underwear. A taffeta ball gown.
Something machine washable.
Costume eye mask, purple velvet pajamas, Angora, a red bow.
Armani and pearls. A leopard hat. Silk kimono. Sweatpants. A tattoo.
An electrical shock device to keep unwanted strangers away.
High heels, lace, and combat boots. Purple feathers, twigs, and shells. Cotton.
Oh, yes.
A pinafore.
A bikini.
A slicker.
If your vagina could talk, what would it say? 2 words.
Slow
down.
Is that you?
Feed me. I want. Yum, yum. Oh, yeah.
Start again. No, over there. Lick me. Stay home. Brave choice.
Think again. More, please. Embrace me. Let's play.
Don't stop. More, more. Remember me?
Come inside. No, not yet. Oh, Mama. Yes, yes. Oh, dear God, rock me.
Enter at your own risk.
Oh, God. Thank God. I'm here. Let's go. Let's go. Find me.
Thank you. Bonjour. Too hard. Don't give up.
Where's Brian? Oh, that's better. Yes! There! There. A group of women between the ages of 65 and 75 was interviewed. These interviews were the most poignant, possibly because many of these women had never had a vagina interview before. One woman, who was 72, had never even seen her vagina. She washed herself in the shower and bath, but never with conscious intention. She had never had an orgasm. At 72, she went into therapy, as they do in New York. And with the help of her therapist, she went home one afternoon by herself, lit some candles, took a bath, played some music, and she got down with herself. She said it took her over an hour because she was arthritic. But when she finally found her clitoris, she said she cried. This monologue is for her.
Down there? I haven't been down there since 1953. No, it had nothing to do with Eisenhower. No. It's a cellar down there. Very damp, clammy. You don't want to go down there. Trust me, you'd get sick. Suffocating. Very nauseating. The smell of the clamminess and the mildew and everything, whew, smells unbearable. It's in your clothes. No, there was no accident down there. It didn't blow up or catch fire or anything. It wasn't so dramatic. I mean, well, never mind. No, never mind. I can't talk to you about this. What's a smart girl like you going around talking to old ladies about their down there's for? We didn't do this kind of thing when I was a girl. What? Jesus, okay. There was this boy, Andy Lefkoff. He was cute. Well, I thought so. And tall, like me. We were out for a date in his car. I can't talk to you about this. I can't do this, talk about down there. You just know it's there, like the cellar. There's rumbles down there sometimes. You can hear the pipes and things get caught there, little animals and things. It gets wet and sometimes people have to plug up the leaks. Otherwise, the door stays closed. You forget about it. I mean, it's a part of the house, but you don't see it or think about it. It has to be there though, because every house needs a cellar. Otherwise, the bedroom would be in the basement. Oh, right, Andy. Andy left him. Andy was very good looking. He was a catch. That's what we called it in my day. We were out in his car. It was a new white Chevy Bel Air. I remember thinking that my legs were too long for the seat. I have long legs. They were smushed up against the dashboard when he just kissed me in this surprisingly take me by control like they do in the movies sort of way, and I got excited. So excited, and well, there was a flood down there. I couldn't control it. It was like this force of passion, this river of life just flooded out of me, right through my panties, right into the car seat of his new white Chevy Bel Air. It wasn't pee, and it was smelly. Well, frankly, I didn't smell anything, but Andy said, that it smelled like sour milk and I was staining his car seat. I was a stinky, weird girl, he said. I tried to explain to him that his kiss had caught me off guard, that I wasn't normally like this. I tried to wipe up the flood with my dress. It was a new yellow primrose dress and it looked so ugly with the flood on it. Andy drove me home without saying another word, and when I got out and closed his car door, I closed the whole store, locked it, never opened for business again. I dated some after that, but the idea of flooding made me too nervous. I never even got close again. I used to have these dreams, crazy dreams. Oh, they're dopey. Why? Burt Reynolds, I don't know why. He never did much for me in life, but in my dreams, it was always Burt and I, Burt and I, Burt and I. It was always the same general dream. We'd be out, Burt and I. It was like some restaurant like the kind you see in Atlantic City, all big with the chandeliers and stuff, and thousands of waiters with the vests. Burt would give me this orchid corsage. I'd pin it on my blazer. We'd laugh. We were always laughing, Burt and I. Laughing, laughing. We'd eat shrimp cocktail. Huge shrimp, fabulous shrimp. We'd laugh more. We were very happy together. Then Burt would look into my eyes and pull me to him in the middle of the restaurant, and just as he was about to kiss me, the whole restaurant would start to shake. Pigeons would fly out from under the table. I don't know what those pigeons were doing down there. And the flood would come straight from down there. It would pour out of me. It would pour and pour. There would be fish in it and little boats and things. And the whole restaurant would fill with my flood, and Burt would be standing there waist deep in it,
looking horribly disappointed in me that I'd done it again. Horrified as he watched his friends, Dean Martin and the like, swim past us in their tuxedos and evening gowns. I don't have those dreams anymore. Not since they took away just about everything connected with down there. Moved out the uterus, the tubes, the whole works. The doctor thought he was being funny. He told me, if you don't use it, you lose it. Really, I found out it was cancer. Everything around it had to go. Who needs it anyway? Highly overrated. I've done other things. I enjoy the dog shows. I sell antiques. You ask me, what would it wear? What kind of question is that? What would it wear? It would wear a big sign, closed, due to flooding. What would it say? I told you, it's not like that. It's not like a person who speaks. It stopped being a thing that talked a long time ago. It's a place you don't go. It's closed up. It's down there. There. You happy? You got it out of me. You got an old lady to talk about her down there. Feel better now? You know, actually, you're the first person I ever told about this, and I do feel a little better.
My vagina is a shell, a round pink tender shell opening and closing, closing and opening. My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, the center acute and deep, the scent delicate, the petals gentle but sturdy. I did not always know this. I learned this in the Vagina Workshop. I learned this from a woman who runs the Vagina Workshop, a woman who believes in vaginas, who really sees vaginas, who helped other women see their own vaginas by seeing other women's vaginas.
In the first session, the woman who ran the workshop asked us to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina looked like to us. One woman who was pregnant drew a big red mouth screaming with coins spilling out. Another very skinny woman drew a big serving plate with a kind of Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a huge black dot with little squiggly lines around it. The black dot was equal to a black hole in space, and the squiggly lines were meant to be people or things or just your basic atoms that get lost up there. I had always thought of my vagina as an anatomical vacuum randomly sucking up particles and objects from the surrounding environment. I did not think of my vagina in practical or biological terms. I did not, for example, see it as something attached to me.
In the workshop, we were asked to look at our own vaginas with hand mirrors. Then, after careful examination, we were to verbally report to the group what we saw. I must tell you that up until this point, everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I had never actually seen the thing. It had never occurred to me to look at it. My vagina existed for me on some abstract plane. It seemed so reductive and awkward looking at it like we were on our backs with our shiny blue lamps and our hand mirrors. It reminded me of how the early astronomers must have felt with their primitive telescopes. I found it quite unsettling at first. My vagina, like the first time you see a fish cut open and you discover this other bloody complex world inside right under the skin. It was so raw, so red, so fresh, and the thing that surprised me most were all the layers. Layers inside layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came my turn in the workshop. I was speechless. I had awakened to what the woman who ran the workshop called vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lay there on my mat, my legs spread, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon. It was ancient and full of grace. It had the innocence and the freshness of a proper English garden. And it was funny, very funny. It made me laugh. It could hide and seek and open and close.
Then, the woman who ran the workshop asked us how many women in the workshop had had an orgasm. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I did not raise my hand, but I had had an orgasm. I didn't raise my hand because they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They would happen in my dreams and I would wake in splendor. They happened a lot in water, mostly in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happened on horses, on bicycles, sometimes on the treadmill at the gym. I didn't raise my hand because although I had had orgasms, I didn't know how to make one happen.
It's like this mystical, magical
Yes, it seems so mystical, magical thing. It felt wrong getting involved, contrived, manipulative. It felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone, and the mystery. The problem, of course, was that the surprise had been gone for 2 years. I hadn't had a magical accidental orgasm in a long time, and I was frantic. That's why I was in the Vagina workshop. And then the moment had arrived that I both dreaded and longed for. The women who ran the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors again and see if we could locate our clitoris. We were there, the group of us women on our mats, on our backs, searching for our spot, our locus, our reason, and I don't know why, but I started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Maybe it was knowing I had to give up the fantasy, the enormous, life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was going to do this for me. The fantasy that someone was coming to lead my life, to choose direction, to give me orgasms. I could feel the panic coming. The simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had rationalized it as mainstream and consumers, because I was in fact terrified that I did not have a clitoris. Terrified that I was one of those frigid, dead, shut down, dry, apricot tasting bitter. Oh my God. I lay there on my mat, reaching with my fingers, searching for my spot, and all I could think about was that time when I was 10 and I lost my gold ring with the emeralds in the lake. How I kept diving over and over to the bottom of the lake, running my hands over stones and fish and bottle caps and slimy stuff, but never my ring, the panic that I felt, because I knew I'd be punished.
The woman who ran the workshop saw my insane, scrambling, sweating, heavy breathing. She came over and I told her, "It's gone, it's gone. I have lost my clitoris. I should not have worn it swimming." The woman who ran the workshop laughed and she calmly stroked my forehead. She told me my clitoris was not something I could lose. It was me, she said, the essence of me. It was both the doorbell to my house and the house itself. And I didn't have to find it, I had to be it.
Be it. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. I lay back and closed my eyes. I watched myself floating above myself. I watched as I slowly began to approach myself and re-enter. I felt like an astronaut re-entering the surface of the earth. It was very quiet, this re-entry, quiet and gentle. I bounced and landed and bounced. I came into my own muscles and blood and cells, and then I slid into my vagina. It was suddenly easy, and I fit. I was all warm and pulsing and ready and young and alive, and then without looking, with my eyes still closed, I put my finger on what had suddenly become me. There was this little quivering at first, which urged me to stay. And then the quivering became a quake, an eruption, the layers dividing and subdividing. And the quaking broke open onto an ancient horizon of light and silence, which opened onto a plane of music and colors and innocence and longing. And I felt connection, calling connection, as I lay there, thrashing about on my little blue mat.
My vagina is a tulip, a shell, and a destiny.
I am arriving as I am beginning to leave.
My vagina, me.
Here is a vagina habitat. This is from Woman in Intimate Geography by Natalie Ann Gray. The clitoris is pure in purpose. It is the only organ in the body designed purely for pleasure. The clitoris is simply a bundle of nerves, 8,000 nerve fibers to be precise. That's a higher concentration of nerve fibers than can be found anywhere else in the male or female body, including the fingertips, lips, and tongue. And it is twice the number in the penis. You can use a handgun when you've got a semi-automatic.
As part of Eve's work to include the voices of all women who face violence, she interviewed a diverse group of transgender women in preparation for this piece. Her idea to transform this wide range of experiences into a Greek chorus was an elegant way to give many voices the feeling of one voice united. Punishing the feminine was one overarching theme of these interviews, and that took place in many forms. Some women of the transgender community face violence from a very early age because they are so feminine, or because they show inappropriate interest in things considered feminine.
For others, the violence comes later because they are not feminine enough. Yet they stay true to their hearts despite every attempt to break their spirits. This monologue moves from childhood through adversity and into the maturity, wisdom, and joy of affirming who they are. Women who face a difficult road just to claim that name. In the end, they endure, they survive, and they share in the pride of expressing femininity with all women in one voice united.
At 5 years old, I was putting my baby sister's diapers on. I saw her vagina. I wanted one. I wanted one. I thought it would grow.
I thought I would open. I ached to belong. I ached to smell like my mother. Her sweet aroma lived in my hair, my hands, my skin. I ached to be pretty, pretty.
I wondered why I was missing my bathing suit top at the beach. Why I wasn't dressed like the other girls. I ached to be completed. I ached to belong, to twirl the baton.
They assign you a sex the day you're born. It's as random as being adopted or assigned a hotel room on the 30th floor. Except it has nothing to do with who you are or your fear of heights. But in spite of the apparatus I was forced to carry around, I always knew I was a girl.
They beat me for it. They beat me for crying. They pummeled me for wanting.
To touch,
To pet.
to hug,
To help.
to hold their hands,
For trying to fly in church like Sister Bottrell.
for doing cartwheels,
Crocheting socks.
for carrying purses to kindergarten.
They kicked the shit out of me every day on my way to school.
In the park, they smashed my magic marker painted nails.
They punched my lipstick mouth.
They
beat the girl out of my boy.
Or so they tried.
So I went underground. Stopped playing the flute.
Be a man. Stand up for yourself. Go punch him back.
I grew a full beard.
It was good I was big.
I joined the Marines. Suck it up and drive on.
I became duller.
Jaded.
Sometimes cruel.
Butch it.
Butch it.
Butch it up. Always clenched. Inaccurate. Incomplete.
I ran away from home.
From school.
From boot camp.
I ran to Miami.
Greenwich Village.
Illusion Islands.
New Orleans.
I found gay people.
Wilderness lesbians.
I got my first hormone shot. Got permission to be myself.
To transition. To travel. To immigrate. 350 hours of hot needles. I would count them down particles as they died. There were 16 man hairs gone.
The feminine that's in your face. I lift my eyebrows more. I'm curious. I ask questions.
And my voice, it's all about the resonance. Sing song, sing song. Men are monotone and flat. Southern accents are really excellent. And Jewish accents really help. Hello, my friend.
My vagina is so much friendlier. I cherish it. It brings me joy.
The orgasms come in waves. At first, they were jerky.
I am your girl next door.
My lieutenant colonel father ending up paying for it. My vagina.
My mother was worried about what other people would think of her. That she made this happen. Until I came to church and everyone said, "You have a beautiful daughter."
I'm allowed to listen. I'm allowed to touch. I'm able to receive.
To be in the present tense.
The wrong was righted.
I am right with God.
It's like when you're trying to sleep and there's a loud car alarm. When I got my vagina, it's like someone finally turned it off.
I live now in the female zone. But you know how people feel about immigrants. They don't like it when you come from someplace else. They don't like it when you mix. They killed my boyfriend. They beat him insanely as he slept with a baseball bat. They beat this girl out of his head. They didn't want him dating a foreigner. Even though she was pretty and kind and she listened, they didn't want him falling in love with ambiguity. They were scared he'd get lost.
They were
that terrified of love.
This monologue is based on an interview with a woman who had a good experience with a man.
This is the story of how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know it should have happened in a bath, salt grains from the Dead Sea, Enya playing, me loving my woman self. I know the story. This isn't real. Our self-hatred is the internalized repression and hatred of a patriarchal culture. Vaginas are beautiful. Pussies unite! Like, I know all of it. If we had grown up in a culture where we were taught that fat thighs are beautiful, we'd all be pounding down Krispy Kremes and milkshakes, spending our days lying on our backs, thigh expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture. I hated my thighs. And I hated my vagina even more. I thought it was incredibly ugly. I was one of those women who had looked at it once and wished I hadn't. It made me sick. I pitied anyone who had to go down there. In order to survive, I began to imagine there was something else between my legs. I began to pretend that there was furniture, cozy futons with light cotton comforters, little velvet settees, leopard rugs, or pretty things, silk handkerchiefs, quilted pot holders, place settings. I grew so accustomed to this, I lost all memory of having a vagina. Whenever a man was inside me, I pictured him inside a mink-lined muffler or a Chinese bowl. Then I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I have ever met. He was tall and thin and nondescript and wore khaki tan clothes. Bob did not like spicy food or listen to Prince. He had no interest in sexy lingerie. In the summer, he spent time in the shade. He did not share his inner feelings. He didn't have any problems or issues, and he wasn't even an alcoholic. He wasn't funny or mysterious or articulate. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He wasn't charismatic or self-involved. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up my change I dropped on the deli floor. As he handed me back my quarters and pennies, and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with him. That's when the miracle occurred. It turns out Bob loved vaginas. He was a connoisseur. He loved the way they felt, the way they tasted, the way they smelled. But most of all, he loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. The first time we had sex, he told me he had to see me. I'm right here, I said. No, you, he said. I have to see you. Then turn on the light. I said, thinking he was a weirdo and freaking out in the dark. He turned on the light. Then he said to me, okay, I'm ready to see you. I'm right here, Bob, I waved. Then he began to undress me. Bob, what are you doing? I said. I need to see you, he said. No need, just do it. No, he said, it's who you are. But I have to see what you look like, he said. But you've seen a red leather couch before, I said. Bob continued. He would not stop. This is awfully intimate, I said. Can't you just do it? No, he said. It's who you are. I have to look. I held my breath. He looked. He got breathy and his face changed. He didn't look ordinary anymore. He looked like a hungry beast. "You're so beautiful," he said. "You're so elegant and deep and innocent and wild." "You saw that, Claire?" I said. It was like he read my palm. "I saw that," he said, "and much, much more." Bob stayed looking for almost an hour. It was as if he was studying a map, or observing the moon, or staring into my eyes, but it was my vagina. In the light, I watched him looking at me, and he was so genuinely excited, so peaceful and euphoric. I began to get wet and turned on. I began to see myself the way he saw me. I began to feel beautiful and delicious, like a great painting or a waterfall. Bob wasn't afraid. He wasn't grossed out. I began to swell. I began to feel proud. I began to love my vagina. And Bob lost himself there. And I was there with him, in my vagina. And we were gone.
This is a not-so-happy fact found in UNICEF's 2005 report, Female Genital Mutilation and Cutting, a Statistical Exploration. Female genital mutilation has been inflicted on approximately 130 million girls and young women. In the 28 countries where it is practiced, mostly in Africa, about 3 million girls a year can expect their clitoris to be cut by a knife, a razor, or a glass shard. In men, it would range from amputation of most of the penis to removal of all of the penis. Short-term effects would include tetanus, hemorrhages, cuts in the urethra, bladder, and vaginal walls. Long-term, increased agony and danger during childbirth, and even death.
It's an animal.
Did you enjoy Act 1? Before we start Act 2, I just wanted to give you a brief update on our fundraising. With your love and help tonight, we have raised $2,500. Our grand total so far to $4,100. If you enjoy Act 2 just as much.
My vagina's angry. No, it is. It's pissed off. My vagina's furious, and it needs to talk. It needs to talk about all this shit. It needs to talk to you. I mean, what's the deal? An army of people out here thinking up ways to torture my poor-ass, gentle-loving vagina, spending their day constructing psychoproducts and nasty ideas to undermine my pussy, vagina, motherfuckers.
All this shit that they're constantly trying to shove up us, clean us up, stuff it up, make it go away. Guess what? My vagina's not going away, okay? It's pissed off and it's gonna stay right here. Like tampons. What the hell is that? A drywad of fucking cotton shoved up there, right? As soon as my vagina sees it, it says, oh, no. Okay, it goes into shock. It says, forget that, okay? Closes up. You need to work with my vagina, okay? Introduce it to things. Prepare the way. That's what foreplay is all about. You gotta convince my vagina. Seduce my vagina. Engage my vagina's trust. And you can't do that with a drywad of fucking cotton.
I know, right? I mean, stop shoving things up me. Stop shoving and stop cleaning it up. My vagina doesn't need to be cleaned up, okay? It smells good already. All right, hey. And don't believe him when he tells you that it smells like rose petals when it's supposed to smell like pussy. Okay? That's what they're trying to do. Trying to clean it up, make it smell all good, like bathroom spray or a garden. Like all those douche sprays, the floral, berry, rain. I don't want my vagina to smell like rain. That's like washing the fish after you cook it. I want to taste the fish. That's why I ordered it.
And then there's those exams. Okay, who thought these up? There's got to be a better way to do these exams. Why the scary paper dress that scratches your tits? So when you sit down, you feel like a napkin somebody just threw away. Why the rubber gloves? Why the flashlight like Nancy Drew up there working against gravity? Why the Nazi steel stirrups? Why the mean cold duck clips where they just shove up inside you? What's that? No. My vagina is angry about those visits. It gets defensive weeks in advance. It is not coming out of this house.
And then you just get there. Don't you hate that? Scoot down, relax your vagina. Why? She can show mean cold duck clips inside it? I don't think so. Why can't they find some nice purple velvet and wrap it around me? Lay me down on a nice feathery cotton spread. Put on some friendly pink or blue gloves and rest my feet in some fur-covered stirrup. Oh, warm up the duck lips. I work with my vagina.
If your vagina could talk, what would it say? Actually, you know what? No, we're not even gonna go there yet, because you know what? Let's just stay on the torture shit. All these dry wads of fucking cotton and cold duck lips. Oh yeah, thong underwear. Ugh, what the hell is that? Thong underwear, it moves around all the time, it gets caught up in the back of your crusty butt.
Vaginas are supposed to be loose and wide, not held together. That's why a girdle is so bad. Vaginas need to move and spread and talk and talk. Vaginas need comfort. Make something like that. Something that gives them pleasure. Oh no, we wouldn't want to see that. See a woman having pleasure, particularly sexual pleasure.
Ooh.
Like make a nice pair of cotton underwear with a French tickler built in. Women would be coming all day long. Coming on the subway. Coming in the supermarket. Coming happy vaginas. They wouldn't be able to stand it. Seeing all these energized, not taking anybody's shit, happy vagina.
If my vagina could talk,
Okay, we can go there.
it would talk about itself like me. It would talk about other vaginas. Hell, it would do vagina impressions, okay? It would wear Harry Winston diamonds. No clothes, just there, all draped in diamonds.
My vagina helped release a giant baby. It thought it would be doing more of that, but it's not. Now it wants to travel. It doesn't want a lot of company. It wants to read and know things and get out more.
It wants sex. It loves sex. It wants to go deeper. It's hungry for some depth. It wants kindness and change. It wants silence and freedom. It wants warm kisses and deep touches and warm liquids. It wants chocolate.
Yeah.
It wants to scream. It wants to stop being so angry. It wants to come.
Yeah.
It wants to want. My vagina, well,
It wants everything.
refugees were interviewed during the war in Yugoslavia in refugee camps and centers. 20 to 70,000 women were raped in the middle of Europe as a systematic tactic of war. It was shocking to see how little people did to stop it. But then again, in the United States, each year, about 200,000 women are raped, which is another kind of war. This monologue is based on one woman's story. We do it tonight for that woman and the extraordinary women of Bosnia and Kosovo.
My vagina was green. Water, soft, pink fields, cow mooing, sun resting. Sweet boyfriend touched me lightly, soft piece of blonde straw. There is something between my legs. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it is. I do not touch. Not anymore. Not since. My vagina was chatty. Can't wait so much saying words, talking. Can't quit trying, can't quit saying. Oh yes. Not since I dreamed there's a dead animal sewn in down there with thick black fishing line, and the bad dead animal smell cannot be removed, and its throat is slit and it bleeds through all my summer dresses. My vagina singing all girl songs, all goat bell ringing songs, all wild autumn filled songs, vagina songs, vagina home songs. Not since the soldiers put a long, thick rifle inside me. It's so cold. Steel rod canceling my heart. Don't know whether they're going to fire it or shove it through my spinning brain. 6 of them. Monstrous doctors with black masks, shoving bottles up me too. There were sticks and the end of the burn. My vagina swimming river water, clean spilling water over sun-baked stones, over stone cliff stone, over and over. Not since I heard the skin tear and made lemon screeching sounds. Not since a piece of vagina came off in my hand, a part of the lip. Now one side of the lip is completely gone. My vagina, a live, wet water village. My vagina, my hometown. Not since they took turns for 7 days smelling like feces and smoked meat. They left their dirty sperm inside me. I became a river of poison and puss, and all the crops died. And the fish. My vagina, a live, wet water village. They invaded it, butchered it, and burned it down. I do not touch now. Do not visit. I live someplace else now. I don't know where that is.
My short skirt is not an invitation, a provocation, or an indication that I want it, or that I give it, or that I hook. My short skirt is not begging for it. It does not want you to rip it off of me or pull it down. My short skirt is not a legal reason for raping me. Yes, although it has been before, it will not hold up in the new court. My short skirt, believe it or not, has nothing to do with you. My short skirt is about discovering the power of my lower calves, about cool autumn air traveling up my inner thighs, about allowing everything I see or pass or feel to live inside. My short skirt is not proof that I am stupid or undecided or a malleable little girl. My short skirt is my defiance. I will not let you make me afraid. My short skirt is not showing off. This is who I am before you made me cover it up or tone it down. Get used to it. My short skirt is happiness. I can feel myself on the ground. I am here. I am hot. My short skirt is a liberation flag in the women's army. I declare these streets, any streets, my vagina's country. My short skirt is turquoise water with swimming colored fish. A summer festival in the starry dark. A bird calling. A train arriving in a foreign town. My short skirt is a wild spin, a full breath, a tango dip. My short skirt is initiation, appreciation, and excitation. But mainly, my short skirt and everything under it is mine.
Vagina-friendly cities. Welcome, UNCG. Woo! We are wild for vaginas here in Greensboro. In fact, a woman from Greensboro is obsessed with a word used to describe the vagina. A pejorative word to say. Her mission was to reconceive the word.
I call it cunt. I've reclaimed it. Cunt. I really like it. Cunt. Listen to it. Cunt. Ka. Ka. Cavern. Cackle. Clit. Cute. Come. Closed. Closed. Inside. Inside. K. Then you, then who, then curvy, inviting, shark skin, you, uniform, under, up, urge, you, then N, then hun, snug letters fitting perfectly together, nest, now, nexus, nice, nice, always depth, always round and uppercase. Hun, a jagged, wicked electrical pulse, then soft, warm, hun. Then teeth, then sharp, certain, tangy teeth. Texture, take, tent, tantalizing tendrils, tactile time. Tell me, cunt! 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 Cunt!
A 6-year-old girl was asked, if your vagina got dread, what would it wear?
Red high tops and a Mets cap worn backwards.
If it could speak, what would it say?
Words that begin with V and T. Violin and turtle are examples.
What does your vagina remind you of?
A pretty dark peach. Or a diamond I found in a treasure and it's mine!
What's special about your vagina?
Somewhere deep inside, it has a really smart brain.
And what does it smell like?
Snowflakes!
Sex workers have rich, compelling, complex relationships with their vaginas. But this particular woman blows my mind. Not only was she a sex worker, but she only did sex work with women.
I love
vaginas. I love women. I do not see them as separate things. Women pay me to dominate them, to excite them, to make them come. I did not start out this way. No. To the contrary, I started out as a lawyer. But in my late 30s, I became obsessed with making women happy. It began as a mission of sorts, but then I got involved in it. I got very good at it, kind of brilliant. It was my art. I started getting paid for it. It was as if I had found my calling. I wore outrageous outfits when I dominated women, lace and silk and leather. And I used props, whips, handcuffs, rope, dildos. There was nothing like this in tax law. There were no props, no excitement, and I hated those blue corporate suits, although I do wear them now from time to time in my new line of work, and they serve quite nicely. There were no props in corporate law, no wetness, no dark, mysterious foreplay, no erect nipples, no delicious mouths, but mainly there was no moaning. Well, not the kind I'm talking about anyway. This was key, I see now. Moaning was the thing that ultimately seduced me and got me addicted to making women happy. When I was a little girl and I would see women in the movies making love, making strange orgasmic moaning noises, I used to laugh. I got strangely hysterical. I couldn't believe that these big, outrageous, ungoverned sounds like that came out of women. I longed to moan. I practiced in front of my mirror on a tape recorder, moaning in various keys, various tones. Always, when I played it back, it sounded fake. It was fake. It wasn't rooted in anything sexual, really, only in my desire to be sexual. But then, when I was 10, I had to pee really badly on a car trip once. It went for almost an hour, and when I finally got to pee in this dirty little gas station, it was so exciting. I moaned. I moaned as I peed. I couldn't believe it. Me moaning in a Texaco station in the middle of Louisiana. I realized right then that moans are connected to not getting what you want right away. That they're best when they catch you by surprise. That they come out of this hidden part of you that's speaking its own language. I realized that moans were in fact that language. I became a moaner. It made most men anxious. Frankly, it terrified them. I was loud, and then they couldn't concentrate on what they were doing. Then they'd lose focus. Then they'd lose everything. We couldn't make love in people's homes. The walls were too thin. I started to get a reputation in my building, and people stared at me with contempt in the elevator. Men thought I was too intense. Some even called me insane. I started to feel bad about my moaning. Got quiet and polite. I made noise into a pillow. I learned to hold my moan, choke it back like a sneeze. I began to get headaches and stress-related disorders. I was becoming hopeless when I discovered women. I discovered that most women loved my moaning. And more importantly, I discovered how deeply excited I got when other women moaned, when I was responsible for other women moaning. I made love to quiet women, and I found this place inside them, and they shocked themselves in their moaning, and I made love to moaners, and they found a deeper, more penetrating moan. It was a kind of surgery, a kind of delicate science, finding the tempo, the exact location, or the home of the moan, that's what I called it. Sometimes I found it over a woman's jeans. Sometimes I snuck up on it, off the record, quietly disarming the surrounding alarms and moving in. Sometimes I used force, but not violent, pressing force, no. More like dominating. I'm gonna take you someplace, don't worry. lay back and enjoy the ride kind of force. Sometimes, sometimes I used props. I love props. Sometimes it was simply mundane. I found the moan before things even started, while we were eating salad or chicken. It's casual, just right there with my fingers. Here it is, like that. Real simple, in the kitchen, all mixed in with balsamic vinegar. Sometimes I used props. I love those. Sometimes I made a woman find her own moan in front of me. I waited, stuck it out until she opened herself. I wasn't fooled by the minor, more obvious moans, no. I pushed her all the way into her power moan. There's the clit moan, the vaginal moan, the combo clit vaginal moan, the almost moan, the right on it moan, the elegant moan, the gray slick moan. Ow, yeah! The wasp moan. The Jewish moan.
Oh, no.
The African American moan.
Ow, shit!
Irish Catholic moan.
Oh, Father, forgive me.
The mountaintop moan.
Yodelay,
The baby moan. The doggy moan. The uninhibited militant bisexual moan. The machine gun moan. The tortured Zen moan.
Oh.
The diva moan.
Oh,
The college moan.
I should be studying.
And finally, the surprise triple orgasm moan.
Performed for some time without any mention of birth. This was a bizarre omission, but then again, a male journalist recently asked, what's the connection? Our author, Eve Ensler, was present for the birth of her granddaughter. She was in awe of vaginas before that moment. She's in deep worship now.
I was there when her vagina opened.
We were all there. Her mother, her husband, and I. And the nurse from the Ukraine with her whole hand up there in her vagina, feeling and turning with her rubber glove as she talked casually to us, like she was turning on a loaded faucet.
I was there in the room when the contractions made her crawl on all fours, made unfamiliar moans leak out of her pores, and still there,
just after hours when she would just scream wildly, her arms striking the electric air.
I was there when her vagina changed from a shy sexual hole to an archaeological tunnel, a sacred vessel, a Venetian canal, a deep well with a tiny stuck child inside, waiting to be rescued.
I saw the colors of her vagina. They changed. Saw the bruised, broken blues, the blistering tomato red, the gray pink, the dark. Saw the blood-like perspiration along the edges, the yellow, white liquid, the shit, the clots pushing out of all of those holes, pushing harder and harder. Then through the hole we saw the baby's head. Little scratches of black hair, slowly coming beyond the bone, a hard, round memory, as the nurse from Ukraine kept turning and turning with her slippery hand.
I was there when each of us, her mother and I, held a leg and spread her wide, pushing with all our strength against her pushing, and her husband sternly counting, 1, 2, 3, telling her to focus harder.
We looked into her then. We couldn't get our eyes out of that place. We forget the vagina, all of us. How else could you explain the lack of awe, the lack of reverence? I was there when the doctor reached in with his Alice in Wonderland spoons, making her vagina a wide, operatic mouth, singing with all of its strengths. First the head, then the gray flopping arms, then the fast swimming body, quickly swimming into our weeping arms.
I was there later when I just turned and faced her vagina. I stood and let myself see her all spread, completely exposed, mutilated, swollen and torn, bleeding all over the doctor's hands who was calmly sewing her there. I stood and her vagina suddenly became a wide, red, pulsing heart. The heart is capable of sacrifice. So is the vagina. The heart is able to forgive and repair. It can change its shape to let us in. It can expand to let us out. So can the vagina. It can ache for us and stretch for us, die for us, and bleed us into this difficult, wondrous world. I was there in the room. I remember.
My revolution begins in the body. It isn't waiting anymore. My revolution does not need approval or permission. It happens because it has to happen. In each neighborhood, city, village, or town, at gatherings of tribes, fellow students, women on the market, on the bus. It may be gradual and soft. It may be spontaneous and loud. It may be happening already. It may be found in your closets, your drawers, your gut, your legs, the multiplying cells, naked mouth, taut nipples, and overflowing breasts. My revolution is willing to die for this. My revolution is ready to live big. My revolution is willing to overthrow the state of mind called patriarchy. My revolution cannot be choreographed, although it begins with a few familiar steps. My revolution is not violent, but it does not shy away from fierce displays of resistance that tumbles into something new.
My revolution is in this body, in these hips, a trophy by misogyny, in this jaw wired mute of hunger and atrocity. My revolution is connection, not consumption. It's passion, not profit. It's orgasm, not ownership. My revolution is of the earth and will come from her, for her, because of her. It understands that every time we freck or drill or burn or violate the layers of her sacredness, we violate the soul of our future. My revolution is on his knees, on my knees, to every holy thing. My revolution is not ashamed to press my body down on her mud floor. Banyan, cypress, pine, cayenne, oak, chestnut, mulberry, redwood, sycamore trees. To bow shamelessly to shocking yellow birds and rose blue setting skies. Purple, heart exploding bougainvillea and aqua sea. My revolution gladly kisses the feet of mothers and nurses and servers and cleaners and healers and all who are life and give life. My revolution is not ashamed to be on its knees to people who carry empire-made burdens in and on their heads, backs, and hearts.
My revolution demands abandon, expects the original, relies on troublemakers, anarchists, poets, shamans, seers, sexual explorers, mystic travelers, tightrope walkers, those who go too far and feel too much. My revolution shows up unexpectedly. It's not naive, but believes in miracles. Cannot be categorized, branded, targeted, or even located. Offers prophecy, not prescription. Is determined by mystery and ecstatic joy. Requires listening. Is not centralized, though we all know where we're going.
It happens in stages and all at once. It happens where you live and everywhere. It understands that divisions are diversions. It requires sitting still and staring deep into my eyes. Go ahead, love.
they have worked tremendously hard. And as you can see, they did a beautiful job. So we just want to say thank you to them. Thank you to you all for your support, and we hope you enjoyed it and have a wonderful evening.